Today, my presentation is a celebration, and it's also more than that. It's a peek into our future, where we're going, and why we're going there. Many people have, in fact, all of you on your seats have the District Reformation Report. This is a report that also has been available on our website for quite some time. Toastmasters International generally recommends that when you reach about 200 clubs, it's a good time to consider looking at reforming the district into two. One of the reasons why they recommend that, which is something that we have found to be true in District 4, is that it becomes more and more difficult to find venues that are effective for us to use. We have a lot of people. Right now, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of around 6,000 members in District 4. That's a lot to be proud of. In terms of number of clubs, we're at 272, and we're poised to finish the year somewhere above 280. That's also something to be very proud of. But after a while, you take a look at it and you say, are we serving our members as effectively as we could and should be doing? How many people went to the fall conference this past time in Monterey? Did you notice how short the breakout sessions were? The reasons why they were that short is because we now have 10 divisions. 10 divisions mean that our contests, both the evaluation contest and the humorous speech contest, went on that much longer. Something had to give somewhere, and it was the breakout session. When we're looking for venues to have division contests, it's becoming increasingly difficult to have the room that we need to have for everyone there. Club officer training's the same. TLI, something that District 4 is second to none at doing, that's also an issue. So we took a look at what needed to happen to reform the district and look at having two. When we looked at it, we took a look at what was happening in District 4's past, because we wanted to see if there were any trends that would continue once the district was reformed. We took a look at where we were presently, of course, and then we also took a look at where could we be in the future? What's going to happen as far as growth trends are concerned? Are we looking at no growth happening any longer in San Francisco? I know, that is kind of funny, isn't it? And then we decided, all right, let's make sure that it's balanced. And the balance is extremely important. One of the reasons why the balance is so important is because, and excuse me for walking in front of this thing here, is because we want to make sure that we leave two very strong districts that will run for many years, just as District 4 has run for many years. We want to make sure that we're offering that same level of high performance that District 4 has become known for. And by the way, we're not known for it only here in District 4. We're known for it in Toastmasters International. We wanted to make sure that every member would receive the best experience they possibly could in a balanced way. We looked at the numbers, we looked at how many members would be in one place versus another, and there you have the final report of everything that we have, where we looked at Los Altos to the north as being one district, and Mountain View to the south being another district. This does not happen this July 1st. This happens July 1st of 2016. The reason why we do that too is because we want to make sure that we have strong leadership. One of the things that we're doing in this year moving ahead, as opposed to having one lieutenant governor education and training, and excuse me for not using the new terms which I'm not fluid on yet, we will have two lieutenant governors education and training. One that will be on the north side, one that will be on the south side. Same with lieutenant governor marketing. One on the north, one on the south. Why do we do this? So that when we do have the formal reformation, and we have District 4, and District, what looks like will be 101, we've got leaders that can step up. Yeah, 101, isn't that a great name? Yeah. You've got to give credit where credit is due. That was Tony's brainchild. Therefore, what we're looking at doing is having two practically 50-50 districts. And you'll see, if you look at your report, you'll see on the third page a little breakdown. Thank you. That's not what I'm referring to though, but thank you. In terms of membership payments, we looked at that because, just so you know, when we're looking at how much money is going to go where, the money is based on membership payments. So let's say that we have 6,000 members, 3,000 membership payments, let's say in District 4 is what that district would get, and 3,000 membership payments in what we propose being District 101 is what that district would get. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. At this point, what I'd like to do is I'd like to make this very interactive and get going with the Q&A session. What I'd like you to do is stand up, identify who you are, briefly state your question, and I will take a moment to answer your question, and I will be timed at a minute too, so that we can keep everything going the way that we need to keep it going. Does somebody have a second mic that they can bring out there to anybody who needs it? Okay, great. Does anybody have any questions? All right, right over here.
So will we have 2 conferences for the practice term? Like 2 fall conferences and 2 spring?
No. We will have 1 fall conference. For this next year coming up, we will have 1 fall conference and 1 spring conference. The legate, one legate will be in charge of one, the other legate, Lieutenant Governor Education and Training, will be in charge of the other. Yes?
Madam Immediate Past District Governor, my question is, if these 2 districts are going to have, again, Area A, Area B, Division A, B, C, I'm a member in several clubs that could be split between North and South. So whether it is contest or club officer training or events, will they collide? So far they haven't because we belong to all the clubs, they belong to a single district.
If you have to go for officer training, you have to go for officer training. Whether there's 2 trainings that are taking place at the same time, frankly, is not really material, right? As long as you can be trained, that's the most important thing.
How about contests?
Well, contests also. I mean, if you belong to 2 areas, you may have that conflict right now.
Fantastic. I belong to both North and South. Thank you.
I like that. And you know, you could also join 57 too if you want. District 57 too if you want to do that. Trifecta. All right. Another question? Yes.
Sure. Guy Perry from Extreme Toastmasters and a few others. When I served on the board, we dealt with dividing districts many times. And one of the problems, of course, is being able to have natural or unnatural barriers. And looking at your list of division here in the area of where 280 and 87 go together, there seems to be crossing the freeways in a couple, 3 places. Is there a reason for that? Or is it just because the club is just across the barrier and really wants to be in the other one?
We wanted to pay attention to a couple of factors. As an example, when new clubs from Toastmasters International sends out a lead, how easy or difficult are we making it for them to send out a lead to a proper location? Freeways don't mean a whole lot to those people. I don't know what the problem is, but cities certainly do. If something says Mountain View, they're clear, oh, this needs to go to District 101. If something says Palo Alto, they're clear again, this needs to go to District 4. So we didn't do it so much based on freeways, although we did look at that quite a bit. We did it based upon cities and locations, so that it would make it super clear and easy for everybody. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. The other thing that you might want to look at is, since we're so very close around here, people and clubs move from one city to the next almost, well, not quite daily, but very often.
That's very true too. All right, another question?
Farhad, I'm Area B3 governor, and my question is, what is the typical membership size in different districts around the United States, for example?
That's a great question, thank you. I will share with you that in North America, we've got the largest district. So that's one thing to point out, and we're somewhere around number 4 or 5 internationally. Generally speaking, a district consists of somewhere between 100 and 150, 150 from what I understand is the sweet spot, up to 200 clubs. And then at 200 clubs, normally that's again when a district will look at the possibilities of doing a reformation, but only if it can be done in a healthy way. You don't want to leave one side with under 100 clubs and another side with, let's say, 150 clubs.
Just I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And you do see a map over here. You've got a copy of the map on there too. When you look at it geographically, it looks a little bit odd. But if you saw what was going on in San Francisco and what was going on in Division A, you would understand that in Division A, we are way spread out in terms of how clubs are. Whereas in San Francisco, if you take a look at where all the clubs are, it just looks like one big, huge dot.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on over there. All right, another question?
Good morning, Barry Pearl, 25 Alive Toastmasters. You talked at the beginning about access to venues. I know a lot of the district activities lately have been in the South Bay. And I think the reality, unfortunately, for San Francisco to host events is the venues are so expensive. So that's one of my concerns. I understand the reality of needing to divide the district, but being able to find venues that are going to be affordable for things like conferences is a concern for me.
That's a great question, and that's one of the reasons why when we looked at the Reformation, we said Palo Alto on North, because we realized that San Francisco is challenged that way. There's no question about it. I do think there's a couple of places that would be great to investigate, but that's another conversation. But when we're looking at Palo Alto on North, we have many different opportunities as far as venues are concerned. One TLI that we had that was a smashing success was the Genentech TLI, and that was in South San Francisco. So we definitely have venues that are out there, and it's one of the reasons, again, where if we are looking for a venue and we can say, well, this is how big the district is, this is approximately how many people we may have, we're better off having smaller, making the district a little bit smaller. Does that make sense? Any other questions?
Just a quick one. Are they going to have the same Division A?
That will be up to the new divisions. They could have Division 1, or, I mean, I have no idea, but that will be up to the new divisions. And that brings up a great point, I think a good point to close on too. The reality of it is that one of the things I love the most about Toastmasters is the fact that it's this incredible playground where you can make things happen and change things around. You know what the objectives and the goals are. How you make that happen is really something that happens through consensus and working together. So this new opportunity that's in front of us is a great opportunity not only to serve our members better, but to see what we can do to make it even more creative, more wonderful than it's already been. Yes?
So on that topic, what are your plans to make sure that even though we may split the district in half, that the two districts stay connected enough so that we still can benefit from the membership on both sides? That means when we have events and so on, maybe we can help each other as districts since we
That would be up to the individual member, right? I mean, you wouldn't want to force that on someone. You wouldn't want to say, you know, you're in District 101, but
No, I mean more in terms of events, in terms of conferences and things like that.
I think, again, the individual member, just as right now a person could go to District 57 and see what's going on in 57, that same person can look and see what's going on in a district that he or she doesn't belong to, and most certainly can reach out to people that they have connections with and say, I'd love to help with that.
I was thinking in terms of venues because there's a lot of questions like that. So even though we might be split, then let's say sometimes 101 could offer venues to District 4 and District 4 could offer venues to 101 if we had crunches.
Are you saying venues?
Venues, yes, that's in terms of at the strategic level. What is the logistics and the strategic plan for making sure that
That will be up to that future leadership to decide. All right, and I think we're at the end of our time. If you have other questions, I'm going to be here the whole time. David will be here, Ken will be here, Tony will be here. Reach out to us, ask away. Please look for that notification to vote. And thank you so much for your time. Madam Toastmaster.